How is everybody doing? Welcome back for the second video of the Chronoforge series. For those who does not know me, my name is Remy. I've been a holder of the Chronoforge project for the last 3 years. I'm also the CEO and founder of the Free Human Method. Before we go further, a little disclaimer. Today we're the 25th of February 2025. All the information I am going to share is 99% accurate. Right? So please bear in mind that I am not a team member. I have not access to anything that hasn't been announced yet. And all the information is things that I've gathered personally online on the Discord, on the website, which means don't throw stone at me if you're watching this in a few days, a few weeks, and different announcements were made, right? So the purpose of this video is just to educate people on the Web2 and Web3 side of things of the adventurers. So today we're really going to focus and go in depth about these little guys that we can see here in the background. But before we go further, please watch this little video. I'll see you right after. We're back. I hope you guys liked that little video. Shout out to the community members who actually took some part of their stream to send it over, and I was able to do a little montage like this for you guys to see a little gameplay inside the game. Looks amazing. Honestly, to this day, I still believe Chronoforge is the closest project that is going to launch on the Web3 space that looks like a real AAA quality game on the Web2 side of things, right? So this video right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to explain in depth what does Adventurer do, why, should you guys acquire an NFT if you want to acquire an NFT, where to find them exactly, what will you be able to do with that NFT, and also explain for the free-to-play player, because Chronoforge is going to be an MMORPG, totally free-to-play. People are going to be able to compete with the owners of NFT if they want, but of course, there's going to be some differentiation, right? So I was able to get access to the game to show you guys how does the class look like, how's the ratio look like, because there's quite a bit of them in Chronoforge. So we have a total of 12 ratios that are already been out there accessible in the game. We have 3 more ratios coming out at the TGE event that I will show you in a little second. And as far as I'm concerned, I think there's 2 more racial or 2 more type of character you guys are going to be able to acquire if you mint Totem the 5th of March. All right, so a little bit of history. December 2022, we had the mint of the Gen 1 Adventure. There was 5,000 only in the collection, so it was pretty cool at a time when everybody else was minting 10,000 assets. We had access to only 5 racial. So the 5 first racial, that we got was the canine, we had the avian, feline, we had the Rhododron, and then the elven. A few months later, we were able to breed using 2 of those NFTs to create a new one completely, new ratio, new classes. It was a very exciting time, and it was for free. It was actually to give back to the community for holding adventures and being a part of the project. So the Gen 2 became the Naga, the Fox, we had the Imp, the Bear, and finally the Ape. So all of these racial actually are a little bit different. What I mean by that is they all have different attributes. So for people who wants to min-max, you might want to, pair, like the bear, which have very high vitality, and strength with a tanker class. You might want to merge the Naga with a mage class because of the high intelligence. There's still a lot of stuff in progress on the team side of things about the attributes, how it's going to work, how it's going to make, differentiation in the game. But this is something you might consider if you don't own an asset yet, and you want to go out there and start buying some NFTs. Now, for the people who are free to play, because the project is 100% free to play, of course, like any MMORPG out there, there's going to be a dollar shop or a token shop, right? So this comes from me, not from the team. But there's going to be two different racial available, when you start, which is going to be the koala and the mice. After that, I talked to you guys that we might have access to different one with the totem mint. If I can show it here. I'm sorry, here. There we go. So if you mint the totem and you're lucky enough to get one that when you burn the totem, give you one of these two racial, you're going to be able to use them in your own account and later on mint them to become NFTs. So obviously you're going to have quite the rare assets at that point. So the Saurian is a Triceratops. It's actually an enemy inside the game. And we can see a better version of the koala. Now, if you've been listening for a bit, you know that when we have the TGE or the token generation event, there is going to be a staking event that's going to occur, for like 24, 40 hours. Please don't quote me on this. Again, this might change as we get closer to the TGE. But basically, is if you stake 5,000 token, you're going to acquire a sapling NFT. If you stake 15,000, you're going to acquire a reborn, right? Those are undead. They're super cool. And then if you stake 50,000, you acquire one of them that we still don't know who they are, okay? How it works is, if you stake all 50,000, you basically get all three of them dropped into your account. These count as Gen 3 NFT, and we have no clue yet how it's going to roll, but from the question we did in Discord and everything, we're pretty sure it's going to be like to drop the NFT like we minted back in 2022. So there's going to be randomized equipment on it, there's going to be randomized traits of the adventures, and there's going to be randomized classes. So I do believe these three can actually have all 12 classes. Compare that if I go back in the game to show you in a bit here, the first gen that we had doesn't have access to some of the classes, right? So here's the classes that I'm talking about. So the Gen 1, we had the Knight, we had the Hunter, the Time Warden or the Priest, we had the Thief, and we had the Monk. These were exclusive to Generation 1, right? So what happened is when we actually merged these classes together, depending on which class with what class, depending on which racial with what racial, we got a mix of things that created the Gen 2, right? So we got the Mage, we got the Druid, the Battlesmith, which is like a Paladin, we got the Brigand, we got the Engineer, the Reaper, and finally the Mecha. All right, so we're back on the main website. I hope you guys love to see me going through the game and showing all the different racial and all the different class. I'm actually super curious to know which one you're interested to try out, and please tell me in the comment below. This next section is going to be a little bit more NFT savvy because when we talk NFT, it rhymes often with rarity. And I know a lot of people love to see and acquire those rare assets before the project becomes mainstream and before the project starts blowing up, right? So in Chronoforge is actually, quite a bit of rarity, but at the same time, not all of them actually have an impact inside the game. So it really depends where you stand and what you want to acquire. So if I go here and I connect my account to the main website, we can see that we have the inventory with all the adventures, right? So this is going to take a little bit to load. And if people didn't know, when we minted the project in 2022, the game was called PX Quest. It was supposed to be a pixel game base at first, and the owners decided to go and switch to become a full 3D MMORPG with open world, dungeon, bosses, world bosses, and a lot more. So I'll show you after how it looks when we first started. So as you can see here, I have it under Adventurer, right? So we can see all the different class, the different gen. It's an avian monk, gen 1, obviously, like I said early in the video, the thief, the knight, the priest, the time warden, right? And if I scroll if I scroll lower, you can see that this guy here is a legendary thief, right? It's a ninja, right? But it acts like a thief. So basically, in Chronoforge, what happened is when we the project minted back in 2020, there was some metadata mixed up, and the legendary assets doubled up. So we don't have any 1-1, but we do have all of them as 2 of 2, which is still pretty cool if you ask me, right? So here they are. Obviously, I own the ninja, but there's 10 different type of legendary assets, right? We have here the Valkyrie, we have the Hellhound, we have the Phoenix. I think this is the Necromancer. We have the Plague Doctor. We have the Viking. We have this guy's Mecha, I guess. We have the Samurai, right? And finally, the Ninja. All of these guys are not, way superior to normal NFT. These ones are going to have a little boost to their base stats, right? And just better starting equipment. So by better starting equipment, what do I mean? Is all of these guys here, if you click on it, right, you can tell they have like different things. There's a different class, right? They have traits. And funny enough, on the app, we don't really see the equipment of these guys compared to, example, a normal NFT. You can see they have like headgear, weapons, and stuff like that. So if I go here on the Legacy app, you guys might not know about this if you don't have, NFT, or if you were not here, since the beginning of the project in 2022. But this is actually what we minted, back then. So excited. Honestly, like it hurts me to not be able to use these guys anymore. But who knows? Maybe, in the future, there's going to be more game created with the studio, and maybe to bring back that pixel game base they wanted to create, back then. So as you can see here is the Ninja. That's how it looks when I got it. Legendary number 9. The full gift NFT, super cool if you ask me, right? And they did not translate the GIF in the full 3D. Obviously, building a full MMORPG open world game costs a lot of money. So saving, where you can to focus more on the gameplay, focus more on every single asset, and not have a few people be more happy about their legendary over everybody else in the community. But what I really wanted to show is this. So legendary unit starts with, all the gear as legendary level 1 gear, right? So these are actually the rarest possible you can acquire in the game. Obviously, the legendary unit have a little advantage at first, but they're not game breaking. What I mean by this is the epic gear that we're going to be able to craft as we level up is going to soon become stronger than the base legendary gear that those legendary assets have. Which bring me to the second point of this legendary thing, right? So remember when I said in the first part of the video that when you had the Gen 2, we were able to actually mint the Gen 2 or create them. We had to use 2 different NFTs to breed one. So what happened is if you were able to use 2 legendary, which let me tell you, not many people actually had 2 legendary. We had our boys, the Mad King, which is one of the OG holder of the project, had 2 legendary units. So he was able to mint these guy, right? And that's why all the one you see with halos, right, and special weapons are all Fox. Because basically the 2 legendary that he had, when he merged them together, always created a Fox, right? So that's why the Fox skin might not be that rare, but everything else on it is. So let me show you what I mean by this, right? So as you can see here, this guy have a lance because he's a lancer or a brigand now. That's how they call. And he has an halo. So these are actually the only two epic gear that is going to have a starting equipment on NFT, right? These are the only two things, if you're a seeker of rare NFTs, that you need to look at gear-wise, right? The only other thing is if you want to acquire very rare traits, and the traits are actually little buff that your unit gonna have, right? You can see here, he has a junkyard and he has unwavering traits. I will share in a little bit, like a full spreadsheet of what the traits do. So if you want to go look, check it out, and then search some NFT that you'd like to pair. Example, physical damage with a physical, like a DPS guy, more HP with a tank guy, you know, it's something you will be able to do. But these are the like the reward someone would get from merging two legendary adventurer. So that's how rare they are, right? Again, halo and the weapon. So if I jump now in OpenSea here, you know, of course we had the legendary, but now if I remove this, right, and I go into weapons, in the trade section here, right, you can see weapons. We have what we call the ancient, like here, right? So for every class, it's the sun something. So sun sword, sun lance, fist, divine wine, angel staff. And as you can see, there's not that many of them, right? So quantum blade, super grinder, nature gift, and moon's eye. So even though the mechanical spanner is an engineer wrench or weapon, right? It is not an epic weapon. It is blue. It is rare quality. What's mean less stats and also less damage to start with. Does it mean that your NFT is bad because it has it? Obviously not. But it just means that this is not what we're looking for if you want to acquire those rare units before the game start, right? And I think I forgot one, which is the dagger of the ancient. So all of these guys here, if you can see, right, they either have the halo and the weapon, right, or just the weapon. Why is that? So when you combine two legendary together, you would get halo, like the helmet halo, and then the weapon. If you only had one legendary, like I only had the ninja, I was able to create some Gen 2 that had like the epic weapons, right? So all of them that you can see here, like this guy here, these panda, right? They all have the epic weapon only, right? You can see these guys are double mechas. And so there's a little bit of them, right? It's not like they're super, super rare, but there's not that many. As you can tell, like 13, 16, 19, right? So depending on which one you want to play, this is something you might want to look at to get that little edge at the beginning of the game. But again, take notes. Anyone's going to be able to craft those weapons at some point, right? So it is not like you're always going to be ahead of the curve. The owners of the project are very about fairness. Like their mindset is about fairness. So yes, it's okay to give a little boost, but it's okay for other people to catch up at some point, right? So if I go back on this here on this legacy app here, I'm gonna try to find, like, you see, like these guys have like halos and the weapon. Like you can see, they're pretty cool. I think I have a few who just have the weapon. This guy, for example, right? Just for you guys to see. So see, there's no halo, background's normal, and he has like the big wrench for the engineer, the super grinder, right? So that's how you know if your assets actually have one of the rarest weapon pre-launch of the game. All right, so now that we're done with the weapons and like the combination of the Gen 2, right? Sadly, if you guys understood what I meant, is there is no Gen 1 with those very rare epic weapons. It's only Generation 2, right? So if you look on here, on OpenSea, obviously, you can literally go in the trade section. You can go on Gen and click on Gen 2. There's only 2,500 of them that can actually spawn with a halo or an epic weapon or both together, right? So as you can see, there's a few of them. So what are the things that people might consider super rare or something that could increase in value when the masses adapt the game, right? So we all played games, you know, like MOBA game, like LOL, we played Dota, we played WoW, and there's a lot of things that does not exist anymore that did exist at the beginning of the game. Example, mounts, we had pets, yes, things like this. It's all a part of Chronoforge as well. But character-wise, to me, what could have value is actually the skin of your character or this cosmetic, right? But before we start acquiring cosmetic, there is some unit that are actually super rare compared to other. And if I go down here, you can see if I click on erase color, right? The Weimar is a copy of a legendary. So this guy is actually a one-on-one. I personally don't even know who owns that in the community, right? But it is not considered a legendary. So be careful if you decide to buy this one. No one know if it's gonna be one, if it's not gonna be one, because there's actually already 2 of them already. So it would be like a 3 out of 3, but different design, right? The retrievers, sadly, you cannot buy these. Like these 2 legendary here, you can't, because these were the summon of the necromancers, so you can't have them. Or they were actually a helper of the plague doctor, sorry. Or something like this, It's been 3 years, so please don't quote me on this. It is super fine. So see the retriever, you have one like here, and apparently it's a dog, and he's by himself. So maybe that's the rarest skin out there, right? Not something I would actually pay a lot of money to acquire personally. But then you have what we call the Forsaken. Forsaken, as you can see, has been only created 12 times out of 7,500 assets total. It is the rarest of all the skin, right? It's an imp class. So if you like the imp class, you might want to get that one. And as you can see, most of them, and I'd say like the majority, have Halo, and therefore they all have epic weapons. So these are not going to go for cheap because they're actually the biggest combo of visual rarity you can see in the collection, like the helmet, the weapon, and the skin that you're going to see in the game on your character, right? And then the one that I personally prefer, the panda. So when we had access to the bear class, some of them turn into panda. So they're super nice. If you play a monk, like you can literally be Kung Fu Panda, and then all of these things. So here, like you see the paladin, like the panda, he has the big hammer. That's the epic hammer. You can see this is a druid, base form of the druid. And then you have like the knight, the thief, right? So a lot of these panda are actually pretty cool. There's only 29 of them. So again, super rare. And the third that the community consider being rare is actually the Reef Naga, right? So people would pay a little more to acquire a Reef Naga. As you can see, there is none for sale. Like nobody is selling their Reef Naga right now. Everybody is keeping them because in the game, it looks amazing, right? The Naga looks super cool. If you saw Alicia's stream last week, you could see her trying a mecha with Naga, and she was honestly she was in love. She fell in love as soon as the game started because the assets look so nice inside the game. And I wish I could show you guys like every single one of them, but sadly, I only had access to show you the creation character menu. So again, there we are, right? So if I do a quick recap, because before I move to the next sections, if you're looking for rarity, if you're looking to buy an asset, which is the rarest in the Chronoforge community, could be the rarest inside the game for the first few weeks, right? You're looking at first, legendary units. Second, you're looking at units that has a halo on top of their head and epic weapons, right? Because those stays as a metadata on the unit and they're already epic, so higher damage and better stats to start with. So a little hedge right there. Then if you go lower another notch, you're going to have just epic weapons, right? Those are good. So if you don't get hit, you can kill faster. The best defense is offense, as they say. You don't really need armor. And then the skin of your character. So these would be what people consider like the most visual rarity possible inside the project. Now, in the next section, I will now show you the traits that Adventurer have, what they're going to do, how we're going to be able to acquire more of them in the game, and maybe for you, this is exactly what you're looking for to min-max or be first on the leaderboard. All right, so the last part of this video is going to be about the adventure traits. So when we acquire our NFT, as I said before, everything was randomized on them, and they gain 2 traits that are attached to them forever, right? So these traits actually were used also to create the Gen 2. So when you use, example, one legendary and the other legendary, then all 4 traits, 2 and 2, went into a pool, and he actually created that new character, that Gen 2 character, with 2 out of the 4, right? So it was completely random. Some came out super good, some came out super bad, and it's all like about what we love, in the Web3 space, that little degen gamble thing, right? But now that they're all out there, you need to understand that the new adventure is going to come out, which is the Gen 3, and even the free-to-play are going to be able to acquire traits playing the game, right? It's also being said by the owners that maybe we're going to be able to use Chronoforge token to re-roll those traits, or at least for the one we can acquire inside the game, because it is said that each Generation 1 and 2 adventure is going to have 5 total traits, right? Then we're going to be able to roll some of them, and maybe those who want to spend more or, could acquire a very, very rare one. But so far, it has not been confirmed, so just take this with a grain of salt, right? Here is the list of all the possible traits out there. So super simple. It goes from common quality, uncommon, rare, and epic, right? And please don't get this wrong. It is not because you roll the common trait that your adventure is bad. Some of the common trait actually fits super good and better than a lot of uncommon, rare, and epic on like precise adventure. Per se, you're playing a thief or a monk. You're actually doing physical damage, melee, right? Then the common traits, Soulless, is actually percentage added physical attack, which goes super well with your class. So please don't go crazy spending money trying to get those or selling asset that has not the one that you want. But you can go out there and look at the market, because there is still some for sale right now. People, who've been waiting for a long time for the game to start are letting go of some assets, and you might find a gem. Who knows, right? So I'm going to talk just about the epic ones because, they're the rarest, and it's always, good to understand how it works. So second sight is like for every enemy that is targeting you, you gain a percentage dodge chance and percentage crit chance. So this could be amazing for a solo player. This could be amazing for a tank that can do damage, actually, right? Because you're always in melee. You're always, in front of people. You're the one with aggro. So basically, you always have more dodge and more crit chances. Second one is Paralyzing Aura. This one is super good. Your standard attack have a chance to stun enemies for X seconds. Unbreakable, for example, you gain immunity and percentage physical and magical defense boost when your health is below X percentages, right? Demonic Strength, for example, you gain a percentage damage boost to standard attack and damaging ability when your health is below XYZ, right? So a lot of those have been chosen. So the traits are set in stone, but the percentages has not been balanced yet. And we know for a fact that none of those are going to be game breaking. So expect between 0 to maybe 5% in all of those boxes. If it's more, good. If it's less, good. It is just a little something to add another layer to min-maxing for the people who wants to do this, right? So now that this is being said, if we go back in OpenSea here, you can go on the left and you can find the section of it says traits, and you can see how many adventure actually have those traits. And depending on the one that you're looking for, like you click on one. So per se, you want to get like an Ether-bound guy. You click on it, and then you can see here there's a monk for sale, right? 0.36 ETH. And if you scroll down, you can see that this guy trait, he has musical here, and he has Ether-bound, right? You can see them here. So now we go back to musical ear. We want to know what it is, right? Musical ear, if I'm not mistaken, is a common trait, and it had percentage max MP, right? And Ether-bound actually give your attack a percentage max mana. So you gain more mana, and actually you have a chance to reduce the cooldown of all of your ability. So even if you have like that, musical here and there, it's actually super good. Like these two traits work super good together, right? And maybe when you start rolling the third one, fourth one, and fifth one as you play, you might hit something for damage. You might hit something for survivability. Like, we don't know yet how it's going to go completely, but I can tell you this is a super nice combo if you think about it. So, all right, guys, I guess it's time for us to wrap this up. It's been quite the video, a lot of information. So I'm going to try to do a little resume and add the final touch to this, right? So we were honored to get this from the owner of Dogberto, the owner of the project, right? And basically it showcased what is the advantage of owning an Adventurer NFTs against like a non-NFT free-to-play character if you want, right? Or even the Gen 3 or the new one coming soon. We don't know if they're going to get these benefit yet, right? So it's something that people might want to watch in the next few weeks as we get closer to TGE, right? So what we see here, super simple. Adventure NFT are for the ultimate competitor. What he means by this is like any project when they come out, like any game when they come out, the exciting part is always the first few days of the launch, right? If you remember WoW Classic, if you remember Diablo Reset of the Ladder, if you remember any game like this, PoE, Leagues, the most exciting part is always at the beginning. So why acquiring an adventure is good? You get rarer gear, right? We talked about it. So legendary NFTs are the number one rarest assets. Number two is the one with the halo and the epic weapons. Those are the ones you want to look for if you're looking to buy a rare NFTs on OpenSea. They have, different traits going to commons, uncommon, rare, and epic traits. So try to find one that fits with the class that you have. And then finally, we have some very special races like the Panda, the Forsaken Imp, the Reef Naga, right? Every single adventure NFT of Generation 1 and 2, so the first 7,500, are going to receive a 6,666 chrono airdrop at the date of TGE. So basically, we have 1 billion token in the economy of the project, and 5% of that is dropped to the holders of Adventurer per adventurer. So in my case, in this account, there is 100 adventurer. It means that I'm going to get 666,000 token at TGE. If you own one of the adventurer, you're basically an exclusive price pool access, which means that every month, or at least as said on this, flyers, the first month is going to be $100,000 USD, not token, $100,000 USD worth of price, right? That is exclusive to those who own one of the 7,500 NFT at launch of the game, right? We can also stake our NFTs. We can stake our NFTs on the airship assets. We can stake our NFT on the deed asset, right? I didn't really went into it in this video because I wanted to keep it for, a following one and really go in detail when I talk about my opinion of the tokenomics of the game, right? So, but basically what is I'm going to do is if you have multiple adventure, you can stake them. It's a soft stake, so they're not going to be locked in there. It's not going to cost a crazy price on ETH to stake those, right? And it's going to give you up to a certain percentage more token per month. We were fancy enough to add a certain rental system. So it's basically like Axis Infinity, or it's going to help a lot the scholar that are around the Web3 space, or the people who owns way too many assets for the amount of hours they can play per week. And they're going to be able to rent it, either rent for free, but split, the in-game reward, split the end of the month leaderboard reward, or simply have a little fee per day to rent your NFT. Detail of this is going to come very soon, so I tell you to stay tuned. And then there's a cooldown immunity. So this is a little controversy in the Discord right now with a lot of people. So the game is not just an MMORPG. There is roguelike aspect in the game. So every time you go in a dungeon, if you go in there and you actually loot, but you die before you reach a checkpoint, or you die before you kill the boss at the end, you basically lose your loot, right? So if you own an adventure, then you don't lose drops at all, right? I think this was tweaked into something like, if you lose one time, then you lose 20%, two times you lose 60%, all the way down to zero at the end of the day, right? So I do think that for people who want to compete, people who want to craft item, people who want to craft, like help, their trading companies to grow faster and bigger, they might start thinking about acquiring an adventure, right? So again, guys, it was a pleasure to be here with you today. My name is Remy. I'm the CEO and founder of the Free Human Method. If you want to have more information, want to ask me a question, or want to just talk with me personally, you're invited to join the Discord that's going to be linked in the description below. And as always, stay free.